horse, we have the black horse. The black horse being a representative of financial hardship. And after the black horse, and what do you have? Death. Death is following. So again, what you see is the increase in hardship, increase in persecution, and oftentimes this is what happens to God's people. As the gospel begins to go out, persecution and hardship tend to increase. It certainly did for these Christians in the first century. So we had the breaking of the seals. I think it was the fifth seal. John sees the souls of the martyrs under the altar, and what are they crying out? How long? And what is the answer that the Lord gives them?
Rest a little while.
Patient. Be patient. Everything is done in the Lord's time. In His time. See how much time we got left. Speaking of time, we only have 50 minutes. And of course now as the breaking of the seven seals continue, what happens at the breaking of the last seal? At chapter 8, verse 1. Because in chapter 7, what you see is an interlude period between the breaking of the sixth and seventh seal. There was silence in heaven. Again, whenever you take a look at chapters 4 and 5, you see all these images of worship. Holy, holy, holy. It appears to me that heaven is a noisy place. Warning, so that the people would change, that the people would repent. But we see in Revelation chapter 9. In Revelation chapter 9, after the sounding of the sixth trumpet, they said the rest of mankind who were not killed by the plagues did not repent of the works of their hands, so as not to worship demons and the idols of gold and of silver and of brass and of stone and of wood, which can neither see nor hear nor walk. So again, these. The breaking of the seven seals, which of course represents a persecution, has come. But what is going to follow that? Judgment. Judgment is coming. God is going to judge this nation, in particular Rome, that is persecuting his people. But we got the sounding of the trumpets. Judgment is coming, which is going to move us into the pouring out of the seven bowls of wrath. Judgment is here, and the destruction of the harlot. We read about the harlot. Beforehand, we read in Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12 about a great dragon. Great dragon with 10 heads. Who is this? Who is this dragon? The devil. The devil. Revelation chapter 12, we read about the woman who was to give birth to the male child, which we talked about being representative of Christ, and the devil was ready to devour the male child. Well, he failed in that. So who did he turn his attention to? The children, right? The rest of folks who follow the. And what is the devil going to use in order to go after these faithful Christians. He's going to use that beast. Comes from the land. This beast operates under the authority of the great dragon. Also, there's a second beast too. A lot of people they know that the book of Revelation talks about a beast. They know a little bit about the mark of the beast, but they may not know that the book of Revelation actually talks about two beasts. The second beast that are actually out of the water, and then the second beast that came up out of the land. What did the second beast do? What was his purpose?
To do the will of the first beast.
Right, and the second beast is called the false prophet. Is going to use false teaching and false doctrine to do what? To get people to go and to worship the first beast, who is operating under the authority of the great dragon, which is Satan. But again, the whole point of this message is to tell these Christians to remain faithful. And what would happen to Christians who did not follow? Did things turn out well for them? When they didn't take the mark of the beast, when they didn't participate in this emperor worship, this worship of the emperor and putting their proving their allegiance to Rome by doing these things and worshiping in these empirical temples. What would happen to the Christians? Their livelihood would be taken away. They would be killed. Great persecution. But we also brought into the seven bowls of wrath that the Lord pours out via his angels to exercise his judgment upon the nation, to destroy the great harlot, which rides upon her beast, the fall of Rome. We talked about how the world's reaction to the destruction of the great harlot. What was their reaction? Were they joyous? Not everybody. I tell you what, we talked about this in quite a bit of detail. You know, people from all economic levels, you know, they wept because of the fall of the great harlot, because their livelihood depended upon her existence, upon Rome's existence. But with the destruction of the great harlot, we also read about the beast and his false prophet, the second beast. What ultimately happened to them?
They were thrown in the lake, weren't they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And what would this mean for the first century Christians? They're going away, right? And if they go away, what goes away with it? Persecution. And then we read about how was the dragon dealt with?
He was chained and thrown there too, wasn't he?
Right. For how long? For 1,000 years. You know, this is where you get this 1,000-year doctrine. This is not talking about a literal 1,000 years. If Satan, the beast of the false prophet thrown into the lake of fire, Satan is going to be bound up for 1,000 years. But what does that mean for Satan? Even though this is a temporary period of time, the key word is temporary. What's going to happen to him? He is going to be released. He is going to be released. Do you think that he's going to use the same tactic that he used to persecute Christians before? Maybe in some cases, maybe not. But the tactic that he used for using his beast, he's not going to be able to use that tactic anymore because the beast and the false prophet are going to be gone. He can certainly get another beast, but the beast that these first century Christians were living in. So even though persecution is coming back, there's going to be a time when even that is going to end, when the red dragon, he too is going to be thrown into the lake of fire, along with all of his followers, along with the kings of the earth that stand up against God and His kingdom. But what is in it for the saints? What is left for the saints? The holy city, the New Jerusalem, the dwelling place of God's faithful people. In the last chapters, we read about the comforting thoughts concerning what is in store for the faithful. It's an encouraging message. To remain faithful when we think about all the things that are in store for God's people in heaven. So again, the overarching message: remain faithful even to the point of death, and you'll receive the crown of life. Receive the crown of life. That's a message of victory. That's a message of overcoming adversity, overcoming persecution. But in order to overcome these Christians, they need to remain faithful. And the message is the same for us. So I hope that you were able to get much out of this study. That this study has been encouraging to you, and I would encourage you to every now and then. I mean, as time goes on, because it's probably going to be a long time before we get back into talking about Revelation again. Open up the book of Revelation. Just read through it or skim through the chapters. Refresh your memory, because there are going to be times when you start talking to denominational folks and they want to start talking about things like rapture. Be able to